Good evening, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Hopefully, this season finds you living within the joy of God's greatest gift to us. For our topic this week, we like Republican language, we like Republican ideology, but the question with size and scale is where can it exist? Throughout the course, we kind of looked at Aristotle, who argues that republics need to be in a small size, both territorially and population. That idea kind of moves forward. Montesquieu, in Spirit of the Laws, puts forth that similar idea. And we even see it in some of the arguments of the Anti-Federalists in terms of size and scale of government and what a larger, more powerful government might do to how people experience freedoms within the country. And so the question, can it exist in a larger territory? Dr. Livingston pointed out the French have been attempting to do it since the French Revolution. Here in America, it's been attempted since the American Revolution. James Madison, Federalist 10, argues that republics in a larger territory are a good thing because it can diminish the power of factions, but it does come at a cost. Dr. Livingston pointed out in one of the videos that large territories with large populations who do maintain a republican form of government end up concentrating the power of that government in the hands of a few. He kind of talked about the numbers in Congress and quorum and who makes the decisions in the United States. While governments of large republics have more resources and a much larger reach to address the issues in that territory, it does so by limiting participation and limiting the connection that the people have with their government, kind of in the midst of the wider population. People do argue that it works. Besides James Madison, Johannes Althusius and David Hume also make the argument republics can work, but they both put out there the caveat of they need to be federated. And even the examples they used, the countries are smaller. Switzerland, England, but those larger nations have not or might not be willing to entertain what Dr. Livingston threw out there at the very end of his last video of breaking up larger nations into smaller federated units. It, some level, sounds like a little bit of a scary idea. But does that then leave these larger nations heading in kind of the direction that Thomas Hobbes and Jean Bodin put out there, that eventually they're going to lean into some sort of monarchical, totalitarian style of government? In the larger nations trying republics, this hasn't happened, but are countries like the United States and France still too young to yet have gotten to that point where they start to lean in that direction? And then Dr. Livingston pointed out the growing regional economies and political leanings within the United States, that regional sections of the country seeing the power that they have in numbers of people in terms of economic output. Would they want to lean in that direction and break up the United States into smaller federated states or potentially independent nations? And then most recently, you throw in the idea of the megacities that are talked about by Saskia Sassen and Mike Davis, where they're looking at these megacities like in New York that have a GDP and a population greater than many of the states in the United States. But as a city, they have even a much smaller voice within the political structure, within their state or within the nation as a whole. Or you look outside the United States, you're looking at a Paris, a London, a Hong Kong. Can a national government maintain power over these kind of cities that have such a population, have such a GDP? Or on the flip side, does the federal government have the power, the finances to deal with the issues that megacities have, their larger crime rate, their larger homelessness, the larger amounts of poverty and need in those cities that's out of proportion to larger political divisions. Can New York City get more assistance, more stuff than say an entire state? These new issues have given a whole new facet to the already difficult topic of size and scale and the ability to govern.